we have a special guest with us on the line. Right out of the 757, he played and starred at Churchland High School in Portsmouth, then went on to James Madison University, was a captain for the Dukes of JMU, and then played for nearly a decade in the National Football League, a sixth-round pick in 2010 by the Buffalo Bills, also played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and just announced his retirement last week. We're joined by the guy they say you don't cross the Moats, but we're crossing him today. Arthur Moats with us here on ESPN Radio 94.1. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing well. You know, it's always good to get back on the line with you, man. It's like family. You know, back home, man, love my 757 people.
Well, we appreciate that. It's been a long time. I mean, I tell you what, I remember the days when you were a high school wrestling, football, and basketball standout, a multi-sport star at Churchland High School. And I want to know, how's retired life treating you now?
Man, so far so good. Been able to enjoy a lot more of the family time of lately, which is definitely was a key factor in this decision. But then also, man, being able to dive in some of this media stuff as well, man, having a blast, you know, just looking into the media broadcasting field, seeing what that's like on a full-time basis right now.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later on here, and then our always fun rapid fire at the end of the segment. But I want to know, looking back at it now, you got to play professional football for almost a decade for a couple of different franchises, great fan bases too, very passionate with the Bills and the Steelers. Did that dream you had growing up here in the 757 and attending Churchland High School before you got to JMU, did it meet or exceed your expectations?
Oh, man, this exceeded every expectation I could have ever dreamed for. Back then, man, I don't think I was dreaming big enough. I think, you know, growing up, you just dream about hearing your name called, being drafted. And then after being drafted, you dream about just coming out the tunnel, making a play, fans going crazy. But never would I have ever imagined that I would have been able to have the success that I had at this level. Also a career that spanned almost, like I said, a decade. And then just to add into the platform, the differences I was able to make in both, you know, the Buffalo community and the Pittsburgh community, as well as the 757 community. I mean, it was just, like I said, more than I could have ever dreamed or imagined.
Well, and someone that's done a lot off the field as well. You were the Steelers' Walter Payton Man of the Year in 2016 for all the charitable works you and your family have done within the city of Pittsburgh. But I want to know, every athlete has that turning point moment in their life or even their sports career. For you, did you have it in high school, college, or pro? What was kind of that, I guess, awakening moment for you that really spurred on your career or had an impact in your life?
Man, there was a couple of things, actually. First, when I think of high school, being named to the All-Time Winner team, that was the biggest deal for me growing up. I remember, you know, when you make All-Time Winner, you get your picture in the paper. And for me, that was my first time seeing my face actually in there. And that was always like a big thing as far as me saying, like, okay, I'm good enough. I know I could play at the next level. And then I remember every offseason, they would do the top 25 rankings of the players coming out, you know, getting ready for college and stuff. And I remember being number 25 on one of the lists. And I was just like, yo, I made the top 25 list. I got a little write-up on me. Like, those were moments where I was just like, okay, I really can do this. And then when I get to college, fast forward to my junior year, you know, having a really good junior year, but then having a really good junior pro day, and just the response I was getting from the NFL scouts then, and then you fast forward to being the Buchanan Award winner my senior year, that's really when it started to click, like, oh, man, I really have a chance to, you know, do something special and make it to the next level. So those are definitely, like, key moments as far as validating myself to let me know that I can play at this level for a long time.
Well, and for those who don't know, there were some pretty tough dudes in your class of, was it 2006 when you came out?
Yes, dude. Percy Harvin, Chris Bell, Cam Chancellor. Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was a great list. And if I recall, us and a lot of the football recruiting us, we'll take, I guess, blame for it at Rivals and Virginia Preps. We all had missed on you and Cam Chancellor. I want to say you were like 28th or 29th. Where were you? You remember?
No. So literally, I was the number 25th guy. I'll never forget it because that was the last spot to get a write-up.
Okay.
And everybody after that just got their names. And I remember saying, like, geez, I barely made the list. But then you look at the thing, and it's like, I mean, you got the Ronald and Donnell Brown, the twins out of Hickory, who actually ended up being my teammates up at JMU. And you said just a ton of other guys from the area. You're just like, wow, this is crazy when you look at the amount of talent that's in this area that were going to colleges. And at the time, you couldn't fault it because, I mean, these dudes were going to big-time schools, NC States, you know, MAC schools, ACC schools. It didn't matter. Like, they were going somewhere D1.
Yeah, that's incredible. I want to know, your father is a former Marine, and is he still a current high school math teacher?
Yes, he is. So, yeah, my father served 13 years in the Marines, always, you know, Semper Fi for all my Marines out there. But, yeah, he's still teaching math. He recently moved up to Maryland. He was teaching at Norcom High School for the past, 4 years? Yeah, but just recently moved up to Maryland right now.
Okay, what kind of influence has he had on your life?
Oh, man, huge influence, man. When we talk about just that Marine mindset, that understanding that no matter what the situation is, no matter how much adversity you're facing, you're always going to come out on top because you're built that way. You're built to overcome anything, any obstacle, and just that positive mindset to be able to reinforce it regardless of the situation. That was huge as far as my development, especially in my adolescence years. But then also when you deal with the adversity that's associated with playing college football and playing in the NFL, all of those core things that I learned early on from him carried me through all of this.
Chatting with Arthur Moats, the former NFL linebacker with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Buffalo Bills out of JMU and Churchland High School. Our guest here on the 757 at 6 on ESPN Radio 94.1. 16 and a half sacks and 202 combined tackles with the Bills and the Steelers in 8 years. And Arthur, for you, what coach, if you give me multiple coaches or one coach, really had a big impact in your development and really just had you like to give a lot of praise and credit to for your success?
Yeah, man. So, I was blessed to have a ton of awesome coaches that I was able to interact with from high school, college, even in the NFL. And, you know, I could literally just name down the list because each one of them played a special role as far as impacting me. But if we talked about, like, the most impactful ones, I would have to say it was Coach Thomas. And it was more so because not only did he impact me on the field, he impacted me off the field. Like, on the field, he helped me as far as understanding the film study aspect, right? I would always watch film with a defensive mindset, how I want to attack somebody, how this blitz is going to work or this coverage is going to work, this rush move is going to work. But he opened my eyes to say, hey, look at it from the offense's perspective and understand the weaknesses of the defense, understand the flaws schematically and where teams might try to attack you at. So that way you know how to improve that and be aware of the certain situations and scenarios. So that helped me grow immensely as a player. But then when we take it to the off-the-field standpoint, just talking about, hey, be more, don't just focus solely on being a great football player. Make sure that you continue to be a great husband, a great father, a great community man, because so many people get tied up and just wanting to be great at football that they sometimes neglect the other things. So he was always making sure that I understood the importance of balancing that out, making sure that I was still making my family and the community a priority.
And, of course, Mike Tomlin, also a 757 guy out
Absolutely.
of Newport News, Denby High School, William and Mary. What's the reputation around the league, the NFL, from guys that have heard about this 757 area code? Does it have a great reputation? Is it talked about a lot?
Oh, absolutely. It's funny. Anytime you say you're from Virginia, the guys automatically like, 757? And you're like, absolutely. Anybody that's not from the 757, they look at them like, I don't know how good you are. But like you said, man, reputation-wise, I feel like because there's so much talent professionally, not just in the NFL, but league-wide, basketball, track, obviously with LaShawn Merritt, that I think it's to the point now that you're expecting to hear guys from the 757, the same way you hear guys from Florida or guys from Texas or guys from California. Anybody that's from Virginia, like, they got to be from the 757. And it's a great thing because they're just showing that the legacy is continuing. And now when you look at the next wave of guys from the 757, it's their turn to just continue to making their mark, continue to keep that factory of talent coming out, because there's so much talent in the Tidewater area.
Before I bring in my Saturday morning cohort, the coach, Ed Younger, wants to say hello to you, and we also do rapid fire. Arthur, I want to know, most people bring this up to you, I'm sure, regularly when you do interviews or they see you about that hit, and that hit being on Brett Favre that ended the consecutive start streak at 297 games. Are you content looking back at it for being known by many for that play, snapping Favre's streak, or would you rather be known for something else?
Hey, for me, man, I don't have any issue with it. It was a clean hit, and it was a legendary play versus a legendary person. When you think about Brett Favre, you think about that streak spanning over 20 years. You think about him being a Hall of Famer. You think about all the Hall of Famers that have hit him, have sacked him, have done all these things to him. But it was my hit was the one that ultimately, kept him out and broke that streak. So for me, man, when we talk about the play, I'm always going to be proud of it. I'm never going to balk at it or wish that people didn't remember me for that. But at the same time, I feel that I'm just as known for my community work as well in both Buffalo and in Pittsburgh, which is, I think, is one of the things that I'm really most proud of, because it showed that not only was I doing it on the field, but I was also bringing it on a high level off the field as well.
We're chatting with former NFL linebacker Arthur Moats out of Churchland High School in Portsmouth and James Madison University. Our guest here on the 757 at 6 on ESPN Radio 94.1. Matt Hatfield here, and the coach, Ed Young, also wanting to say hello to Arthur. Here you go, Coach.
Arthur, my main hype guy.
Hey, how are you doing?
Man, I got so many questions. I didn't listen to the interview on the way in because I got stuck in traffic. And the only reason I didn't listen earlier, because Matt always gets me for not being on radio. My significant other was on the phone, and I had her through the car phone.
Well, he can give you plenty of potential marriage advice or stuff because Arthur's,
Well, Arthur, I'm planning on putting a ring on it this summer and getting married next summer.
Hey, my man. Well, early congratulations. And look, I want to get an invite. I want to show up to the wedding. I can
wow.
be the best man. Put me in. I got you. We can wear matching tuxes. I give a great wedding speech for starting out there.
Oh, look at that. He could be at the wedding. That'd be
awesome.
awesome.
I tell you what, I would, hey, don't laugh. I wouldn't mind. I could see you leading us out of the tunnel.
That's all I'm saying, man. I would give you the best pregame speech. You would be fired up, ready to get married, and ready to have an awesome life.
Arthur, we got to make this happen because I have something else I want to get started with you. But we got to make this happen. We get this thing broadcasted. It could be a real fun shindig, couldn't it?
Hey, absolutely.
Man, I would love to. Hey, a couple things. Number one, did you ever get Favre to sign the photo of you knocking him out?
No, the one thing. To this day, he still hasn't talked to me. I've reached out to him.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's on Twitter now. I've reached out to him on Twitter. No response. I've tried the agent route. Like, hey, have my agent hit up his agent. No response. So I'm thinking I'm going to bump into him one of these times now that we're on the retirement circuit together. And then I'm just going to have to hey, man, da-da-da-da. Oh, someone wanted me to keep signing this, da-da-da-da, and just not really let him know what's going on and do it kind of that way. Because right now, he's anti me.
Or you're going to have to go on the bad Moats side and just hit him again somewhere and say, now you remember me.
All right, you want some of this? Some of this?
Now, hey, the second thing, since I didn't hear the answer why are we calling you former NFL player? Is it injury? What happened?
No, man. So for me, man, I officially retired, and it was no injury. It was nothing dealing with play. Because honestly, I felt like I could still play, another 2 to 3 more years.
Oh, what the hell? Did you turn 49, 52?
No. Well, actually, I just turned 31. Coming 31? Up the 9th year. Yeah, I know. But this is my biggest thing, right? Like I said, it was never a play issue, but for me, the day-to-day grind is what I just did not want to.
I respect
didn't want to continue with. And for me, I was like, I love the game too much to cheat it. So when we talk about the day-to-day grind, the 6 a.m. workouts, the film studies, the nutrition, the being with my family even more, all of those things, I was just like, I don't have the same passion for that level of detail that it's going to take and that level of sacrifice that it would take for me to continue on at the level that I expect of myself,
Hey, that's tremendous. I applaud you. I respect you. And that's perfect because not many guys can leave the game at your age and with your mindset. A lot of guys, it's the opposite. No question, they hang on.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's not good to look at, and it takes away.
The product looks bad. It takes away from their legacy. It takes away from what they did on the field. And for me, I said, man, I felt like I was one of the guys who played the game the right way, played the game with the passion, and didn't cheat. I wasn't just a guy who wanted to be a star. I enjoyed being a professional. And the difference between the two is the star just wants to come out there on Sundays, get applauded, shake hands, kiss babies, sign autographs. But they don't want to put in that day-to-day work, the day-to-day stuff that you got to do, the cold tub, hot tubs, the workouts, like I said, the countless hours in the film room. But see, that's what I used to love as far as being the professional. Because as a professional, that's what you're addicted to. That's what makes you be successful. But for me, I was like, at this stage, I don't have that same drive to do those things day in and day out. And like I said, I love the game way too much to cheat it.
And the bottom line is if the Raiders offered you $15 million to be a third down specialist, you would turn that down too. So I get it.
Absolutely. And it's the funny thing.
$20 million.
I was fortunate enough to be able to make a good amount of money. More money than I had ever dreamed of making in my life, more money than I've ever seen in my life. And I was making sure I was smart while I had it, so that way I could make this decision without the finances having a weight on me. So, yes, I'm good. I can tell you that, yeah. Now, if they offer me $20 million to do more, that's different.
I'll tell you what.
$20 million to be the water boy, I decide that's different.
Okay, so around $20 million, you might start thinking a little bit.
I will ponder on it. But like I said, it would have to be like, all right, I give out 4 cups of water, not 5. You know what I mean? 5 is like, that's too much.
And the X factor in all this is you got to see if your wife wants you around more and more. That might be the whole indicator.
That's what I'm a little nervous about, right? Like, you got to think over the past 9 years, it's been, I'm on the grind, I'm working out, we spend the time together, but not every day. So it's going to be interesting, man. I'm going to see how good Netflix is because, that's what we spend a lot of time watching right now.
She may call a lot of teams and say you're available.
A couple more minutes here with Arthur Moats, the former NFL linebacker with the Bills and Steelers out of Churchland High in Portsmouth, and James Madison University with us on the 757 at 6 on ESPN Radio 94.1. Now that you're out of the league, anything you'd like to see changed or addressed in the league?
I think that they can continue to work on the player safety initiative, but making sure that it's not just solely slanted towards the offensive players, because there's plenty of defenders that are jeopardizing their health trying to follow these rules in terms of the target zones when they're tackling people, or even the cut blocks that they're being exposed to and things like that. I think that is becoming really slanted towards offensive players, and I think in that aspect I would like to see that change. But outside of those things, I think that a lot of the stuff will be addressed with this upcoming, CBA agreement and things like that, just because when you think about the way the power structure is set up from a disciplinary standpoint, some of those things I would like to see changed as well, just so it could be a lot more balance in the situation versus one person being, the end-all, be-all with those decisions.
Arthur, I got to ask you, and I know you're going to take some time, and because you won't feel you're retired until about the middle next season when you're sitting back on the lounge chair watching the games and saying, man, he can't rush the edge. He can't protect the edge. I got to come back. But let me ask you this, down the road, with your energy, enthusiasm, and what you've been through and how you've reflected on other players, any idea of coaching maybe down the road at some level?
Well, see, that's the funny thing. I actually don't want to coach for the simple fact the amount of time that you spend as a player, I always felt you spend even more time as a coach.
Good point.
And for me having like younger children and stuff, I felt like I've already missed on so much throughout this career that I don't want to add to that doing the coaching route. But the opposite is this. I would love to hop into, like I said, the media field, the media broadcasting, and share my knowledge as well through that avenue and share my passion for the game through that avenue. Also player development as well, just because I love the fact of the player development coach being able to impact players' lives directly, from a whole life standpoint, not just on the field, but off it as well. So those are some of the things I'll be looking into.
Well, you are always welcome to be a weekly or monthly guest here, analyst.
He don't want to be guest. He wants our job. You didn't hear him?
Well, he can do that too. He can take your job any moment with you being tardy.
We're a team, man. We're a team.
Yeah, he can join the 757
Come on
at 16
now.
with us here.
We'll be here in the little studios here in Greenwich, but he's going to be on NFL Today, HBO. You watch.
But Arthur, before we let you run, we thank you so much. I'm sure we'll be getting you back on here again soon down the road. You ready to play some rapid fire with us?
Absolutely, man. I look forward to this.
All right, here we go. Hard hitting, think fast here. Questions for Arthur Moats. Best movie you've seen in the past year is?
Oh, Avengers Endgame.
Avengers Endgame.
No.
I was able to dodge that from my dad, who I'm just not really into it myself, but everybody else loves it. It's just a little lengthy for me at 3 hours.
Man, the Titanic was lengthy too. That was an awesome movie.
It was. I don't have attention span. That's the problem. See, I'm one of those hyperactive people. All right, best TV show in the last year that you've seen?
Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. Okay. Fish, chicken, or steak?
I'm going to go steak.
All right. I thought you might say all three.
Ribeye. Can't go wrong with the ribeye, man.
All right. Throw out the first pitch at a baseball game or judge a slam dunk contest?
Oh, first pitch. Put me in Yankee Stadium, first pitch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Ed's a Yankee fan, too. I'm in trouble here. All right. We got three more for you. NFL teammate that you had who you felt was the most underappreciated?
I would say Fred Jackson. Fred Jackson up in Buffalo, running back.
Yeah.
And he was there for a while, played with Marshawn Lynch, C.J. Spiller, but he was always viewed as the other guy,
Yeah. He was a very good vet, and you're right. Absolutely. With both of those backs there. All right, last two for you. Last year you told me, without a doubt, Adrian Peterson was the toughest guy to tackle. Who was the fastest guy you played against?
Oh, man. Tyreek Hill was crazy fast, but then also Deshaun Jackson. Deshaun Jackson with that Philly Dream Team where it was him, Mike Vick, Shea McCoy. Yeah, that dude was lightning.
All right. Now, I see there's going to be some Let's Play Some Dodgeball with Santonio Holmes and the Long Foundation and Arthur Moats, the Ronald McDonald House Charities coming up on June the 28th. You can visit, I see, yagagolf.com for more details. So I want to know, 757 all-time dodgeball tournament of celebs. You can't pick yourself. Who you going with to win the 757 all-time dodgeball tournament?
Oh, man. Who would I pick? Jeez, that's the question, right? Who would I pick?
Yeah, we have to get this together too. By the way, we got to throw one here.
Well, give me Vic because the left hand throw is going to be insane and the velocity coming off of it out of control. AI because his athletic ability, he's going to shake and juke. Give me Cam, the enforcer. I got to have an enforcer. Plus, we came out the same year. That's my guy.
Who's that?
Cam Chancellor.
All right.
Yeah. We got to have an enforcer, right? He's bam. That's what he does. Oh man, let me think. Who else? Jeez.
That's a pretty good three right there with Vic, Iverson, and Cam. Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Man, matter of fact, give me young Dorian Finney-Smith.
Ooh, Dodo. Okay.
Absolutely. He got the athletic gene. He comes from a long family of ballers, too. Obviously with his older brother, Big Ben, all those guys. So, yeah, I like him because I was like, Vernon a little too tall. Vernon Macklin a little too tall.
Right.
I don't want that big of a target. Let me think. Who else would I bring on this?
That's a good 4. You give us one more,
solid,
and that'll be
right?
5. Yeah, that should be good.
And you know what? Oh, man. Jeez.
Eli Harold.
Let me get...
Ed says Eli Harold. That's not a
There's
bad
Eli
one.
Harold out there. There's Jalen Holmes.
Eli is nice. No. This is what I want to do. I want to go Lansdowne Percy Harvin. Not Florida Percy Harvin.
Okay.
I like Lansdowne Percy Harvin before the migraines, before the other injuries and stuff. Give me that Percy.
All right.
Oh, okay.
That's a good group.
Five touchdowns in the game, Percy. That one. That's the one.
Well, I tell you what, Arthur, we're going to throw together some kind of dodgeball tournament down here after Ed Young's wedding, which we hope you will be at. And
or during the wedding.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Arthur, for coming by. You're always welcome to come on the show anytime and enjoy retirement life, all right?
Hey, man, I definitely appreciate you. Always good talking with you guys, man.
You got it.
Hey,
Arthur
wish you the
Moats.
best, Arthur.
Thank you.
Arthur Moats, our guest here on the 757 at 6 out of Churchland High and JMU here on ESPN Radio 94.1.